Hey guys, it's BrowncoatNerd bringing you part 2 of my review on the Beretta 92S pistols. Both of these are purchased from Classic Firearms. I've already done a kind of an overview review on the gun, particularly this one. And as I said, I believe this came out of the second batch that Classic had. I purchased it, fell in love with it, realized I kind of wanted to see what I could do to this gun by changing out springs and just little things like that. But at the same time, I kind of wanted to leave it original, it being an Italian police trade-in pistol. So shortly after that, they got another batch in, and that's when I ordered this guy, and it came out of that batch. Both of these, I paid the additional fee for hand select. And as you can see, this one has a more of a blued finish, and then the second one I purchased has kind of a painted or parkerized finish on it. And I actually believe that this is a result of the firearm being re-arsenaled. Reason being, this first one here, that is well broke in, the serial number on this is in the 23,000s. The serial number on this one here is just under 10,000. So this was one of the early ones, and this finish here, I feel like it was kind of painted over the controls. The original one, or the one that I believe is kind of untouched, has kind of plum bluing on the controls here. And on this guy here, I feel like you can almost see that plum, especially on the safety, kind of trying to shine through. Like this was just kind of covered over with a paint or some kind of a parkerized finish. The frame on the first one here is the lower frame is very glossy, very nice and shiny. And once again, this one here is more, especially right here, you can see it's more of a flat, but it gets a little bit shinier up here. It's not really coming over too well on the camera, but I just kind of feel like it was originally a gloss that was painted over. And the back straps of these get worn out. A lot of times you'll see the bluing missing from here. And that wear to me kind of looks like something that's just been painted over. And then the fact that this serial number here on this guy is much lower than on the other one. And both of them are very reliable. The slide on this feels a little stiffer, as you might expect if it got the springs changed out. This one here, it just feels very silky smooth, but it definitely kind of has more of a broken in feel. So I believe this one was, likely just never re-arsenaled, or at least to the extent that this one was here. Now the big thing that caught my eye, maybe I'll show you on this first. If you're familiar with Beretta, especially the M9, there's the whole classic, the slides cracking and flying off into the faces of the Navy SEALs and blah, blah, blah. Basically, my understanding, it actually had nothing to do with the metallurgy of the slides, but some bad ammo that was somewhat high rated in the pressure that was supposed to be was kind of the main reason for that. But either way, U.S. government kind of freaked out about it and wanted Beretta to make a fix. Now, I do believe the government paid for this fix themselves, but if you can see here, there's a little notch in the slide. That notch is for the pin that holds the hammer in. It's got kind of a large disc. And the idea is if the slide breaks, that the slide will fly back and that little groove in there stops. There's enough room for you to, chamber around, but it doesn't go all the way up. And I guess the idea is for this, the slide to fly down here, still be on the rails and hit that little flange, so it doesn't fly in the operator's face. Now this one, with the higher serial number, as you can see, it does not have that notch. The hammer pin on this is the standard size. There is no little circular disc in there, and I apologize because I've changed the grips on this. But you can kind of see it there. And that's the end of the hammer pin, or they call it the slide arrestor. This particular Beretta 92S has a much, much, much lower serial number than the one without it. So I'm thinking of going in for re-arsenaling, even though this wasn't a U.S. government pistol, perhaps the Italians hearing of the issues. And I mean, this is just kind of I guess it would be an easy fix. You're changing out the hammer pin size and then just milling in a groove into the slide there, and that's pretty much it. So that really leads me to believe that this gun has been re-arsenaled. If anyone out there is watching this and has any insight to this, please leave a comment, because I'm very, very curious. This particular one, the second one I purchased, the importer was I-Arms out of Stuart, Florida. And then the first one was from PW Arms out of Redmond, Washington. So that's just a little interesting tidbit there that I kind of noticed as I purchased these guns. Also, these grips will not fit on here because of that slight arrestor. Now, the original grip, this is what I took off of this gun here. As you can see, it's got a little circular area molded in for that enlarged hammer pin. So I'm imagining they would have changed out the left panel of the grip to kind of accommodate that. As you can see, it's kind of pushed out there, and that's molded in. This grip is not like that at all. So that's one thing to note. If you're trying to get, if your grips are really chewed up and you're wanting to keep it original, you might, if it's been refurbished or for whatever reason has that slide arrestor, you're going to want to make sure you get one of these guys. Now, I'm sure it'd be easy to do a little Dremel work on there and make it fit just fine. And vice versa, if you get one of these grips and you don't have that disc in there, you're gonna have it's not really going to be noticeable. It's going to be a real thin little gap. It won't affect the functioning of the gun or anything in any way. And while we're on that subject, just so you know, I have noticed there are two different kind of grips you're going to get on these 92Ss originally. The ones I see the most are these kind of half checkered ones here. Where on both sides the checkering is not above the Beretta logo. Other ones I've seen, this checkering continues all the way up. It looks like the same checkering, same amount of aggressive texture. It's just it's a little bit further up. Just another little thing to note. These grips here, forgive me, I can't remember who I bought them from. I kind of just bought them in a hurry after I purchased this gun. I bought them on eBay. They're pretty cheap. They're kind of thick. I didn't realize how beefy they were until I held the original one. And people complain about the Beretta 92 having a thick grip. And boy, holding those wood grips, and they're really nice and contoured. And I love the wood grain. And the checkering is very aggressive. So this would be great if you're going to be, shooting it with gloves. My hands aren't all that big. So if you got bigger hands, this also, would probably be perfect for you. But, I mean, it definitely adds some beef to the gun. And then going back to this, you're like, oh man, it almost feels like a compact or something. So I might be changing out those grips. I'm just going to keep them for now, maybe get them a little bit beat up. But my plan here was just to buy a 92S and see how nice I can make it. I plan on changing out, the recoil spring and the D-spring. The magazines, the finish on these magazines match the gun. This is a blued one, and the one that came with this, it's kind of Parkerized. And I did change out, as I said in the video, I changed out the spring, which is now in here with a Wolf Extra Power magazine spring. It's shaped a little bit different. I think that's part of the Extra Power Wolf spring because it kind of has a bend back on it. If you buy one, you'll see what I'm talking about, but it fits in there just fine. And I've had no issues with it whatsoever. And what I did, because the spring that came with this really had no issues, it locked open on every last round, unlike my issues with this guy here. So I just took the spring that came in here and threw it in here, because I kind of want to keep this gun all original and not change the feel of it at all. So eventually, as I change out the springs in this, I'm going to be taking these springs and putting them in here, because I'm pretty sure they've had a lot less rounds fired on them, and I want to keep this one as close to factory as possible. As for the sights, well, guys, there's not really a whole lot we can do with the sights on these guns. As I said, they are very teeny, itty-bitty. I've got some grime or something on that one. My plans are to just paint the front one either orange or red, and put a little bit of white paint on this back side. I'm not sure how crappy that's going to look. Hopefully it won't look crappy, and I hope it really assists in the shooting of this gun. This gun's very accurate. It's just it takes a little bit to line up these sights because they're just a little nub, barely there. And I think that is pretty much it. Have I missed anything? I do not believe so. As I said earlier, these guns are a great deal in my opinion. If you're into classic guns, or you're just a Beretta fan, the price on these 92Ss is you can't argue with. It is a great little gun. I highly recommend grabbing one, but I must warn you, as you can see here, they tend to multiply. So be prepared to start saving up funds to grab another one, because they're rather addictive. Alright guys, I hope you enjoyed the video. If you have any ideas or comments about the mysteries as to why this one has the slide arrestor and this other one here does not, or if you just agree with my theory on that one's re-arsenaled. I am not a huge Beretta person, so I don't know a whole lot. I'm kind of learning as I go on these. So any input is very welcome. Thank you for watching, and have a great day.